Anyways, we're gonna move over to a guy because all right, I think why I'm smiling is
hashtag blame love.
I'm looking at this smile. I'm looking at Kevin Love's smile right here. I think I'm mimicking him.
Hashtag no love. Hashtag not all.
I'm gonna stand on a soapbox here. Ricky stood on a soapbox for a preview that we just did for Game 4.
Permission granted. Kevin
Love. All right, Kevin. I'm gonna talk to you, buddy, because I feel like you've been battered, you've been bruised around. You came in when you were 20 as a young, bright-eyed buck going to Minnesota, and you were a champ, dude. I remember going 20 for 20 days on days. You were just dominating in Minnesota. I mean, it was ridiculous. Final season, 26 points. You were lighting it up, and then you go to Cleveland, and you have all this expectations that you're gonna win a championship. You get traded for the number 1 overall pick. I mean, this is Kevin Love we're talking about. This is K Love, this guy who's just dominating boards and dominating three-point land and dominating just every asset of the game, and then he just kind of falls off, and now he's getting all this blame, and now he's getting injured, and now people are saying that he's not a real NBA player. He's too soft. Kevin Love, get your ass out of Cleveland. And I'm saying this for the best of you. I'm saying this because I care about you. I'm not saying this because you can't win a championship in Cleveland. I'm not saying this because you don't deserve to be in Cleveland. You deserve to be in Cleveland, but you deserve to be loved, Kevin Love. You deserve to be on a team that's going to treat you like a superstar because you still are a superstar. You're 27. You're still in your prime. And I think K-Love, if he can gain his confidence back, he can still be a key piece for a team. And you know what? There's a nice, bright place in Boston here. They got a 3rd overall pick. They got more picks out the ass. Thank you, Brooklyn.
Question, would they have to get rid of Olynyk, though?
The gift that keeps on giving.
Would they have to get rid of Olynyk for that to work?
You don't need Olynyk, damn it.
A little bit of bad blood.
I know, arm for arm?
Yeah, a little arm for an arm.
Eye for an eye, arm for an arm. I look at K-Love. Get your ass in Boston. Get your ass in the green uni. Bring it back. K-Love can be the next Kevin McHale, but better.
Oh, my God.
Before we touch that, I just want to throw something out there.
Sorry, Kevin.
While you were, which one?
McHale.
While you were going off on your rant, it's the one thing I kept thinking. I would have loved for you to do that same rant, but have that kind of music that Jimmy Fallon does on the slow jam stuff, just playing behind you. You're slow jamming to Kevin Love.
Slow jamming the news with Barack Obama.
Yep, and that's what you're doing to Kevin. That's what I would have loved to seen right there, but I love it. Get out of Cleveland. I totally agree because it has nothing to do with Kevin Love. And I tweeted a tweet yesterday after the game.
That's what you do. You tweet tweets, right?
The hashtag.
You don't know anything about that. You don't tweet.
Yeah, no, Dave don't tweet. We got to explain it to him. But I went like, hashtag blame Love, hashtag this, because it's like, as soon as the game ends, I knew there was going to be fans that go, well, he played, that's why we lost.
It had nothing to do with, the hero ball for the entire fourth quarter.
And it had nothing to do with you just saying, fuck the bench. We don't need a bench.
We don't need Tristan Thompson. No chain frog.
The one thing I think of is Kevin Love. Why should you be the scapegoat, man?
I agree.
Why should you be the scapegoat?
Don't take that blame.
I agree. And the thing with Kevin Love is we talk about how it's just hard for him to work with Cleveland. I mean, Cleveland's not a team with K-Love out there. There's it's LeBron, it's Kyrie.
Cleveland's not a team. You could have just stopped right there.
True.
That's it.
True.
You mean the Cleveland Jameses or the Cleveland LeBrons? However you want to
That's
call
all
them?
it is. He doesn't fit. His game doesn't translate to what Cleveland wants to do, which is nothing but ISOs.
Mm-hmm.
You could have just said the Cleveland Kings because that would have just worked.
Kings, that would have worked too. But here's the thing. Well, he may not even be the king if he loses this finals. That's what some people are saying.
You can't strip a nickname that he's had since he was like 16.
And 6 straight finals.
But here's the thing that, it's totally, you hear it, everyone's talking about it, it's totally true, but it has nothing to do with Kevin Love. You look back at the Cavaliers, the reason why they're in this situation, you can say it's LeBron James, and I'd be like, fine. I can tell you that, you know what, I'll take your opinion for it. But for me, it's the management. The management should have never traded for Kevin Love, because at this point, I bet you're probably sitting there going, man, I would have loved to have Andrew Wiggins over Kevin Love right now.
For Cleveland?
For Cleveland. Love.
I don't know.
I don't think that.
If you would have had
I think Wiggins would have gotten lost. Wiggins would have got lost.
Based on what I saw and what he's going to become, I would have kept him over Love at this point.
That would have been detrimental to that kid's growth. That kid would not have grown. I mean, you look at that, and you have Kyrie, who is the guy who was there when LeBron wasn't. You have a guy in LeBron who's finally coming back. That would kill Wiggins' confidence. That would kill Wiggins, all of his potential.
How would Wiggins even fit in on that team too?
Exactly.
Not the major point I was trying to make. The major point I was trying to make is the head of this organization is just not there. They don't make sound decisions, and I'm not saying that because
they try to
Kevin
make
Love's
the
not
win
a
now
bad
move.
player. No, they listened to LeBron. That's what they did. LeBron came in and said, "I want this guy." They made it all happen.
But you look at Kevin Love and that year before he was traded. You look at him. He played 77 games. He shot 45% from the field, 37 from three, 26 points, and 25 or not 25 rebounds, 12 rebounds.
Like I said,
he was one of the best players on the trade block. You need a guy to be in that position.
I'm not saying he was a bad player. I'm not saying don't do it because Kevin Love's a bad player. Just what we know now, and of course hindsight is 2020. I wouldn't have made that trade if I was Cleveland because one of the big things that everyone was expecting Kevin Love to come into this team, oh, it's going to be great. We've got the D-Wade, we've got the Bosh, we've got the LeBron, the same big three they had in Miami. Guess what? Kevin Love is not Bosh. And when you're the guy wait, let me talk. You are the guy. No, I'm heated because of this. When you're the guy who, for Bosh, it was easy because he was the little brother. He was just happy to be there, took the third role. When you're Kevin Love and you're playing in a system where Rubio's feeding me the ball and the offense runs through me, and then you got to come over to Cleveland and be the third man, it's a little bit of an adjustment.
So, yeah, obviously it was an adjustment. I blame the coaching. I don't blame the GM for bringing him over. K-Love did not want to be in Minnesota. K-Love wanted to be in Cleveland. I don't blame K-Love at all. I don't blame the GM. I blame the coach. I blame the ownership for not getting the right coach in there. David Blatt wasn't the right coach right away. He was not fit to coach those three guys.
So then you do blame the ownership.
Well, I blame the ownership, not the GM. That's what I said.
Well, both of them have a say into who comes in to be the head coach.
I'm talking GM controls who they bring in.
Personnel.
The general manager,
Just
they
pure
control
personnel.
personnel. I look at Kevin Love. He did not want to be in Minnesota. And, with Chris Bosh, he was the guy in Toronto. He was the only guy in Toronto for many years. K. Love was the guy in Minnesota for about 3 years. He wanted to win championships. He wanted to be paid like a star. He was going to do that in Cleveland. I blame the coaching. I blame the ownership.
I'm coming in and saying that Chris Bosh went into that big three.
He had a choice.
Well, no, I know he did, but he came into that big three knowing, you know what? I'm the third guy, and I'm going to make this work. For Kevin Love, he might have been saying to himself,
Kevin Love and Chris Bosh have different games, though.
I'm the third guy, but at the same time, it's like, I'm the third guy.
I don't think that's it at all. I think that just he was not a third guy. He wasn't seen as the third guy. He was just seen as another player.
Smith is more the third guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He was not shown the respect of a third guy. The coaches didn't use him in the right way as a third guy. I mean, you look at his stats. He fell 10 point differentials from his first year to second year. Same amount of games, same everything, same basically field goal percentage. He didn't shoot worse. I mean, he literally just had decreased time. He had a decreased role. He wasn't used like a Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh was still a guy on. He was able to still be a guy when LeBron was off and D-Wade was off. He had the right coach in Eric Spoelstra. I mean, they didn't have the right coach right away because Eric Spoelstra didn't know how to use him. He finally learned how to use him. They didn't have the right coach for David Blatt for a year and a half. Ty Lue isn't the right coach. I think it's obviously not LeBron's fault because LeBron was able to be controlled in Miami. I look at this. It's not Kevin Love's fault. I'm not blaming Kevin Love. I'm blaming the ownership and the coaching staff for not catering to Kevin Love in the right way. I say you go to Boston, a team where
Brad Stevens, Danny Ainge.
Yeah, you have Brad Stevens, you have Danny Ainge, you have a team that is enriched in history. I look at a team that Isaiah Thomas, is he a star? Yes, but should he be the only star? No. K-Love can be that second star there.
He'd look good in Celtic green too.
He would. I think he would look good in any damn uniform. If I'm an NBA team,
except Cleveland.
Yeah, except Cleveland.
Because they don't know how to use him.
If I'm an NBA team and I see Kevin Love and him struggling, I would go to Cleveland and just be like, what is Kevin Love's price? Because we'll take him. Because I think Kevin Love can still be a phenomenal player in the NBA. I think Kevin Love should be a phenomenal player in the NBA. And I think he should be treated like that.
I'm going to throw this out to you. Since you brought up the Celtics, if you are Danny Ainge, put yourself into the mind of Danny Ainge.
I'm already there.
What are you offering
I'm a Celtics
up?
fan, apparently.
Yep.
What are you offering up for Kevin Love? Give me what you would give. What would you want to give up?
Is
and what do you
Love
think
worth that
Cleveland would
overall?
ask for?
He was worth a 1 before. I mean, I look at that and I say, you're not going to get rid of Jay Crowder. You're not going to get rid of Avery Bradley. You're not going to get rid of Isaiah Thomas. Evan Turner's off the books. Jared Sullinger's basically off the books. You look at Marcus Smart. He's a good defender, but not a good shooter. You got to give up picks, and you have a ton of picks. I mean, if you look at the Boston Celtics picks, I think they have about 5 second-round picks. And I'm not saying he's worth only
How
second-round
many of those
picks.
picks do you give up?
Well, that's what I'm trying to get to, Ricky. I'm trying to set it up. I'm not saying you're giving up the 3rd overall pick, and I'm not saying you're giving up the 2017 overall pick from Brooklyn. but I look at the Boston Celtics, and you have the Dallas first-round pick this year. So I think say you give that one up there. You give up 2 second-rounders this year, and then you go over and give up a first-rounder from, I don't know. I say you give up one of your future first-rounders in probably like 2019 or 2018. I say you give them not quality picks like a third overall pick, but you give them, a lot of picks. I say it's more of kind of like the New Orleans Saints trades for Ricky.
We're just going to toss picks at you.
Basically, the Ricky Williams trade in the NFL where you give them the whole draft.
But why would Cleveland want that? Devil's advocate here, that they don't want young talent. They want guys who are established who can help them win now. And that's exactly why they got rid of Wiggins. So why the hell would they turn around and be like, yeah, give us picks for K-Love? Unless you're going to get a third team in there to soak those picks and get you some established veteran talent, they're not going to turn on that. They need a player-for-player trade with Kevin Love. Unless like something dramatically changes where like, you know what, fuck it, let's rebuild with a end of his prime LeBron. Like, no, that's out of their mind.
Can I throw something out there?
Dave, you're right. Yeah.
I'm going to throw something out there, and I'm going to add a third team. And I'm just throwing this out there. And you guys can talk.
Wait. Can I take a guess here?
Yeah.
All right. Teams Ricky can throw in. Is it L.A.?
Nope.
Chicago Bulls. It's Chicago Bulls.
No.
LA got away.
Which LA?
Lakers.
No. Not the Lakers.
He's thinking that Blake boy.
Throw Blake in. Blake goes to Cleveland. Picks go to the Clippers, and then Boston gets K-Love. I'm just throwing it out there. You guys talk.
Well, that's an interesting thing, and I just want to highlight that. Say it does go down. I don't know the specifics, but if Blake ends up on this Cleveland team, he's one of those guys who actually gave Draymond a lot of troubles. He is somebody who can play up with Draymond, and that way you give LeBron the freedom to go elsewhere on the court. That would be an interesting fit.
That's another thing, too, because you look at this Cleveland team, and K-Love's not that athletic. I'm not going to say that, but K-Love's just good. K-Love's just really good. Blake Griffin's one of the most athletic players in the NBA. And you look at Blake, he's developing a mid-range shot that's pretty decent. He can fly down the court with LeBron and Kyrie. I like that fit for Cleveland. But again, kind of playing devil's advocate, would the Clippers want to break that up? Would the Clippers even want picks? I mean, they played better without Blake for some part.
That's
but
what
also
I'm saying.
Blake is still a great player. Would you want to give it up? I'm not saying it's tough to say that K Love's going anywhere, but also, does Kevin Love still hold the same value as he did 2 years ago?
No, he doesn't. And like you said, even though his percentages haven't decreased, which is the hopeful thing, and that's what you got to be like, all right, so he just needs a little more volume.
A little, I think.
Okay, but still, we're basically getting the same player who we've known who can put up 20 and 12, or 20 plus and 12 even, and there's absolutely no reason to devalue that just because he was in a system that didn't fit at all and he was ignored. That's absolutely asinine. I think NBA GMs and people scouting, everybody knows there's still so much value left with him.
Ricky, I need your tinfoil hat. Pass it over.
Pass it over 2K, Ricky.
All right. This is crazy. A team that they met up in the Eastern Conference Finals here, okay? Toronto and Cleveland going to work out a deal. What does Toronto need? They need a stretch forward. They need a guy to, be able to stretch the floor out here. This isn't going to happen, but you sign and trade Bismack Biyombo to Cleveland Cavaliers. They get a guy who's athletic. They get a guy who's young. They get a guy who can play defense. They get a guy who can protect the paint. They can get a guy who they can put against. They can come off and play off of Tristan Thompson. You go a sign and trade. You give up the 9th overall pick or the 9th pick in the draft because Toronto doesn't need it. You're gonna get that stretch four. You give K-Love to Toronto. Toronto gets K-Love. You re-sign DeRozan. You re-sign Kyle Lowry. I don't think it's going to happen, though, because why would Cleveland, supplement Toronto with a better player there? And plus, it's not going to happen just because why would Bismack Biyombo be in a sign and trade? But
Sean, is this just my day to piss on your ideas? Because didn't they just sign Tristan Thompson to a huge deal the year before? And isn't Bismack Biyombo just a shittier version of Tristan Thompson?
Yes. Two Tristans, one James.
Yes. Oh, I mean, I don't know, Sean. Maybe the tinfoil hat doesn't fit you too well.
No, it doesn't.
You got to return that back to its rightful owner over here.
See, but I don't know where I want K-Love to succeed.
It's like
K-Love will succeed.
I want my boy to succeed.
He just needs to go somewhere that will use him. And that's crazy to say because we talk about all his potential. He's still in his prime. 27 is that is year 2 of your prime. Mm-hmm. You are right there, and he can absolutely throw down still. I think it's, like you said, it's a lot of mental too. It's mental toughness because he has to go back and reestablish himself as a leader and as one of the go-to guys on the team.
Final trade I'm throwing out there. Cleveland and Washington figures out a way to get K-Love to Washington. You got a team of Marcin Gortat, John Wall, and Bradley Beal. You trade a guy like Markieff Morris and maybe Otto Porter for Cleveland. You get some supplemented players there. Maybe you throw in a couple picks. Just throw it out there. I don't know if it's going to work. I don't know. I just want Caleb.
Can I throw out a free agent thing for Cleveland?
Go ahead.
Why don't they just trade K-Love and then I'm thinking
to the free agents?
No, trade him to fucking whatever, the Celtics, and then go after a guy in free agency like Paul Gasol.
Because the whole point is them getting more athletic.
Yeah, Paul Gasol.
Weirdly enough, Paul Gasol is not that athletic anymore.
Or a sign and trade for Al Horford.
Sign and trade everyone.
Clear? No. Okay, if we're going to look in free agency, say they get rid of this problem somehow. Don't know how, but K-Love is someone else's problem at this point. I shouldn't say it that way, but K-Love is somewhere else, and they need a 4. Why not go out there and get yourself a stretch 4 in Ryan Anderson?
Yeah.
You talked about it. Give LeBron James shooters. He wants spot-up shooters. Ryan Anderson is a spot-up fucking shooter.
But then Channing Frye, too. I mean, that's basically
Channing Frye is a failed experiment who they didn't use.
Channing Frye.
He has the length, and they don't
used
know
him in the NBA Finals. They used him every other series. I don't know why they're not using him in the NBA Finals.
But Ryan Anderson gives you a ridiculous length.
You want to know something
and
funny
some
about
athleticism.
this,
He's
too?
not the most athletic, but some.
He's still young, too.
You want to know something funny about you bringing up Ryan Anderson?
Sure
He
thing.
was on the Vertical podcast with JJ Redick, and he actually said on the Vertical podcast that by the trade deadline, he was like this close, like 99.9% chance traded to Cleveland at the deadline.
I didn't even know that.
Ryan Anderson was almost a Cavalier, but then they went and got Channing Frye instead.
The cheaper deal.
The cheaper deal.
Yes. The wrong deal.
Here's something that you could do then if you're New Orleans, and if Cleveland goes out and says, okay, we're going to trade Love and we want Ryan Anderson.
Sign and trade Ryan Anderson.
If I'm the Pelicans, fucking let's work a sign and trade, because then you can work AD and Love and not lose Anderson for nothing. But you'd probably have to give up a pick. I don't know if that's the 6th overall, but you'd have to lose something.
My head hurts. My head hurts really bad, guys.
Dude, this is like right up my. This is right up my wheelhouse, man.
This tinfoil.
This is a tinfoil room at this point.
I think there's a chip in my brain. It's getting messed up.
The thing that you don't understand about the tinfoil hat.
I don't understand anything.
It's like a hat from Lids. It's fitted and it only fits my head. So
you have a weird shaped head.
I think it's really great though that we're trying this hard to make Cleveland and K-Love both happy. And I mean, a lot of these things could put them back in the finals. But are they going to do any of those? And do you think they're even going to get back next year?
Yes.
Yeah, the East is the East.
They're just going to carry their way through LeBron's shoulders.
The East is the East.
Yeah, I think they'll still. I still think they're going to win the Eastern Conference. Unless the Celtics come out, I think the Celtics are the dark horse in the Eastern Conference. I think
Pistons
Toronto,
aren't there yet.
What's up?
Pistons aren't there yet.
Pistons aren't there yet. They'll be.
Oh, I want them to
top 5.
be there.
They'll be top 5. I think they need a little more.
Fair enough.
They need a shooting guard that can actually be decent. Because I mean, Caldwell Pope's still young. And Stanley Johnson. I think the Pistons will be there soon enough, and they have the right coach in place. But final question, because we really didn't actually answer the question, we just kind of went with it. Are the Cavs going to trade K-Love? Yes or no?
They should, yes. I'm going to go
Will
with
he
yes.
be traded?
Yes.
I feel like, yeah. I think LeBron has the power to make that happen.
LeBron has the power to say, you are now the scapegoat. Get out of town.
I think they'll be desperate. And
I can see him like pull a Donald Trump, be like, you're fired.
Well, and here's the thing you got to think about, too.
Yep.
When David Blatt was fired, what did all the Cavs players think it was originally about?
K-Love gone.
K-Love being traded. So
he's the odd man out in the room. It's a shame, but it's what it is.
See, I think the Cavs will be desperate enough to trade him and get something going, because I think they'll be stalling. I think they think they will be stalling and not going anywhere or improving if they don't get rid of someone. K-Love's that scapegoat. I think they'll get desperate enough where they can find a trade, and it might not be for the right value for K-Love. I'm desperate enough as a K-Love fan that I want him to be traded. I think K-Love's going to get traded. I think it's going to happen. I don't know for what.
If they don't push that button, LeBron not going to sign that contract.
Yeah. Exactly. Maybe the next topic will be, is LeBron going to be a Cav next year? We'll see.
Oh man, that could happen if they lose Monday.
Hey, maybe we'll go to Los Angeles Clippers then. Maybe Blake will be paired up there.
We'll then we'd start the CP3, Melo, D Wade, LeBron James all wanting to play together, but they'll probably have to play in New York because Melo's not going to leave.
Exactly. We'll figure something out. But anyways, that's going to wrap up this week's episode of the Fast Break Podcast. I need a bucket of Advil after all these sign and trade talks. I'm just worn out of the tinfoil hat. Anyways, thank you for listening, everyone. If you're listening on SoundCloud, don't forget to hit that red like button. We really love the support, and repost this to all your friends, because all with surrounded by those dope mixtapes are our podcasts. So do not forget to share those to your friends. If you're listening on YouTube, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Do not miss any of the Fast Break content that's going out and any of our NBA content coming out, because we're in the thick of NBA draft season. We're in the thick of NBA free agent season, and then we're probably gonna do some fun stuff after all that's dwindled down and and we're getting around summer camp and all that stuff. We'll probably go into some fantasy stuff. We'll probably go into some all-time stuff.
Your mock draft's coming out soon, isn't it?
My mock draft will be coming out soon. We'll probably see that next week. Anyways, it's gonna wrap up this episode. You can follow me on Twitter at Schwarber. You can follow Ricky on Twitter at Ricky Widmer. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Dave_don't_tweet. You can follow us on Facebook at MVP Sports Network. You can find us on Patreon, patreon.com/MostValuablePodcast. Patrons who donate $1 get a $1 monthly exclusive podcast. It's real fun. Currently on that one for June is me, Dave, and Mark, and we talk about adult stuff, and then not the adult stuff you're thinking, though. And then you can also find us on Snapchat at MostValuablePod. So follow us on those platforms and do not miss any of our content by subscribing. But that's going to wrap up this episode of The Fast Break. And K-Love, if you're out there, I love you, I respect you, and we will see you next week.
Thank you for listening to this MVP podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Most Valuable Pod for more great podcasts.